Once fully implemented, AI will revolutionize white-collar work, and with it, our economic system. However, these massive changes will not be completely unprecedented. In this video, I'll analyze how the first industrial revolution transformed the artisan into white and blue-collar workers, and how AI may transform white-collar workers once again in a similar fashion. Defined by their ability to create physical products for commercial purposes, the artisan has existed for thousands of years. In the aftermath of the Industrial Revolution, however, this class ceased to exist. To gain insight into how this happened, we can look at the artisan in the American context. Before the Industrial Revolution, the American artisan was concentrated in towns and cities. Artisans were split amongst various trades, requiring different levels of skill and training. The more training and skill required to get into a trade, the fewer artisans were in it, making the trade more powerful. For instance, there were many more shoemakers and tailors than cabinet makers, due to lower entry requirements, which meant cabinet making was better regarded and more profitable than those other, less skilled trades. Regardless of trade and relative status, all artisans followed a similar path. First, boys became apprentices, serving a master craftsman and learning from him in exchange for labor. After a few years, these apprentices, now young men, became journeymen, traveling and working for various other master craftsmen. Savvy journeymen who had accumulated enough capital and skill often started their own shop, thus becoming master craftsmen themselves. The master craftsman was well regarded, as he was generally literate, wealthier than average, and often engaged in the political process. In fact, many influential Americans, like Thomas Paine, were master craftsmen themselves. The artisan class began to change with greater technological advances made in the early 1800s. Certain industries like weaving and printing developed technology that became prohibitively expensive for individuals to own and operate without large amounts of capital. These technological advances gave wealthier master craftsmen the opportunity to purchase machines which needed less skilled labor to operate, circumventing the relatively expensive journeyman. As a result, journeymen became less important, and fewer of them than before moved on to becoming master craftsmen themselves. The master artisan transformed into the entrepreneur and business owner, while the journeyman transformed into employed labor, who in most cases no longer had a chance at becoming a master artisan themselves. This split and subsequent end of the artisan does not imply most business owners were artisans themselves. In fact, most weren't. Instead, it shows how the artisan class came to an end via a splitting of sorts. But there is more to the death of an artisan than a simple split into an owner and worker class. The working class itself experienced another subsequent split between the lower skilled blue-collar class and the higher skilled white-collar class. The new blue-collar class generally consisted of less educated, less skilled immigrant labor that worked in an assembly-like fashion, often in harsh conditions. In the early 1800s, these workers came to form associations, lobbies of sorts, to protect their interests. These associations were initially local, confined to specific occupations, and dealt with industry-specific issues. However, with time, these organizations grew into unions, led by figures like Sam Gompers. Through their collective bargaining power, these unions fought for industry-wide improvements of working-class conditions and were able to bring about important standards like the 8-hour workday and a minimum wage. Though this class had done well in the American context up to the 1970s, its power has gradually been greatly diminished since then by both automation and outsourcing. The future of blue-collar work is an issue deserving a whole video of its own. The second class to arise from the carcass of the artisan class was the white-collar class. This class arose from the need for specialists to design and maintain both physical and bureaucratic machines for businesses. Although the white-collar worker doesn't own what they work on, like the traditional artisan would, they still share many commonalities with the old artisan class. The master and apprentice system is analogous to university models of education that white-collar workers go through, where students learn from professors, do internships at companies, and then go into full-time work, often becoming managers or sometimes even owners later in their career. There are some professions, in particular engineering, which strongly resemble the master artisan in terms of the high level of skill needed to do them, and of the potential power they can give workers if wielded properly. Despite the ubiquity of these labor divisions, white-collar work is due for a massive change thanks to AI. This brings us to the potential impact AI could have on the future of the white-collar class, and what its results may be. The impact of AI is hard to predict exactly, but we've seen several things which offer insight into its future potential. Large language models are already capable of composing elegant emails, writing decent code, acing standardized tests, and even synthesizing new molecules. There are many other abilities the current AI models have, and it is obvious that many more will become unlocked with time. It is also obvious that these capabilities, if fully implemented, would already bring massive disruptions to the labor market and white-collar worker productivity. Views of the impact on worker productivity fall into two main camps. One being labor replacement, where most workers are wholly replaced by AI systems, and the other being labor enhancement, where most workers are able to create sellable commodities better than ever before thanks to AI. There is reason to believe AI will have a labor-enhancing effect, as historical trends and the real-world application of AI has followed this path. For instance, in the game of chess, AI has consistently beaten the best human players in one-on-one games, but combined human-AI teams, called centaurs, have proved more powerful than AI alone in the game of chess. In this anecdote, we find a historical trend, that of technology enhancing human capabilities rather than fully replacing it. Looms did not replace weavers, and tractors did not replace farmers. However, this does not mean AI will carry no negative consequences. The technology produced by the Industrial Revolution greatly increased the productivity and wealth of artisanal masters and the business owner class, but disempowered journeymen, turning them mostly into laborers and decreasing upward mobility. I think AI will unfortunately cause a similar split, but this time within the white-collar class. Many white-collar jobs, especially in the business world, don't require a lot of skill. Sure, an education at a four-year university is often required, but a high school graduate with some mentorship could equally well learn to write corporate emails, market to clients, run basic audits, and deal with corporate politics. There are white-collar professions for which this does not apply, but in my experience, that pool can be surprisingly small, because most of this work is very unoriginal. It follows a similar basic template. AI systems with their current ability level can already perform this work, so it's only a matter of time before they become widely adapted. This brings us to the future split I see coming in white-collar work, one that mirrors the split of the journeyman class of old. One new class will consist of de-skilled white-collar jobs. Basic data analysis, accountancy, and spreadsheet making will become trivial, something done in a matter of minutes with the right prompt. Entry-level positions will be hit hardest, and their prestige and pay will suffer. The skills these jobs require will become significantly diminished with technology, and these jobs will transition into unskilled labor. Still requiring skill, of course, but significantly less of it than before. For the sake of brevity, I'll call this new class of jobs the prompt compilers, as these roles become oriented around compiling prompts and answers to problems that have already been solved in the past. The other group of white-collar workers will transform into highly skilled workers who are able to leverage AI tools and their deep domain knowledge to engineer creative, original solutions to modern problems. They will work in small teams to design capable physical and bureaucratic systems. No longer will high-skilled work be defined by mostly administrative, business-type roles. This new class, which I'll call system designers, will come from diverse educational backgrounds and be wealthier than the typical white-collar worker of today. Most white-collar jobs of old will follow the way of the prompt compilers. There will be a few system designers, as the barrier to entry in terms of knowledge and ability to this role will become exceedingly high. This is similar to the blocks that journeymen faced of old. This will also increase income inequality further and bring lots of societal instability. This doesn't mean the associated issues with this transition will be unresolved with time, much like with the Industrial Revolution, but things will probably get worse before they get better for many. It is hard to anticipate what will happen after this point, so my projections stop here. Predicting massive shifts in economic systems is not easy, and the future will likely surprise most, including myself. This is the first YouTube video I've ever made, so feedback and thoughts are much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.